Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the Planning Commission, Thursday, August 4th. So we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order, and then the first item is Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And before I call roll call, I'd like to welcome Debbie Dominic. She started recently on the Planning Commission, so we want to thank her for joining us. We're always looking for good people to fill the empty seats. Well, it's always nice to have good people in here. And now we're going to take roll call. Amy?
Ms. Dobson? Here. Mr. Dutzman?
Here.
Mr. Earhart?
Here.
Mr. Mitchell?
Here.
Mr. Aravalo?
Here.
Mrs. Dominic? Here. Mr. Sly?
Here.
Mrs. Squire? Mr. Welsh?
Here.
Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Yeah. Sorry.
Did I kill it?
All right. As far as the agenda, we're looking for a motion to remove the number 4 of the preliminary plat, 37/2022, until further notice. We just need a motion for that.
Second.
So we have a motion and seconded to remove the preliminary plat, 37/2022, Gossel Farms, from the agenda. As it stands, start the voting on the left.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
The motion passes 8-0. Now, we just need to approve, I guess we need to approve the agenda with that off of it. So we just need to,
A motion to approve the agenda as it stands with the removal of item 4.
Second.
okay, we have a motion, it's been seconded to approve the agenda as it stands with the removal of item number 4. Start the voting on the left.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
You're up.
Oh, you're up.
Aye. Aye.
Motion passes 8-0. We probably could have did that with one vote, but. All right, the next item is the approval of the minutes from, so the first item on our formal commission action is approval of the minutes from July 7th. Now, we do have citizen participation here. There's somebody signed up for the daycare, but you can talk, I'll let you talk during that time as well. It's the first one on our agenda, so you're actually welcome to come up now during the citizen participation if you want to. But I usually allow during that agenda item to speak to. We try to limit it to 5 minutes if possible, but I'll let you go over if you need to.
My name's Jim Weigel, and my wife and I own the property directly north of the daycare, or the doggy daycare, going in on lot 17. And I'm retired from Weigel Construction. Been a general contractor for about 40 years. In fact, we put the first building up in the park for Lynn Baker. And then we also did the steel erection on the Peachtree job. And then, of course, we built our own building. So we're familiar with site plans, building plans and so forth. So, I just found out about this project, or was able to view the plans when it was put on your agenda yesterday afternoon. So that's really not much time for me to gather my comments and have anything very formal. But what I will say is their grading plan does not address any of the water that sheets off to the north onto our property and to Peach State's property. And if I could, I'd like to just give you our site plan so you can see what is on our site, how it works, if I could.
Yeah, I think there's a overhead, yeah, do you have enough copies? Or there's an overhead projector
I got
too.
a lot of copies.
Well,
Okay.
not with the public.
One for everybody, but.
Oh, yeah,
It-
I can share with them.
Yeah, we can share. Thank you. And
There we go.
So I don't know if you all are aware of this, but, just in looking at it, you know, I know what they have to do with a site that slopes from, south to north. If you just go along the curb line, the street line, that's 12 feet. So they're having to deal with that, which I understand that, but I'm not gonna get into issues with the way it's drawn up or designed, other than increasing the slope onto our lot by a 6-foot elevation change. So this plan drastically changes the look and the slope of the property out there. The contours on the that show existing, reflect Lynn Baker's dirt pile that he put out there on the lot, and that is gone. So you really wanna look at the original contours. You can go out there and look at the lot now. And it's a fairly gentle slope to the north, like I say, 12 feet basically. And then another 6 foot, to the west at the north corner. The way this is drawn, everything drains out of a outdoor dog kennel, fenced in outdoor dog kennel, onto my property, onto Peach State's property, and some will flow onto that, lot that's, I don't know if Lynn has sold it or not. So, how do you address that? If you look at my site plan, we installed a 6x7 concrete junction box right at the north, or what would be our southwest corner of the property. See a yellow line there? All the water on our property drains to that box, and it's carried out by the storm system that's provided. So this site plan takes out the contours for any swale that prevents the water from running onto our property. And all I'm asking for is, can we talk about this? Some further review? I don't know about dog feces and urine in a confined area, penned area, but I think I'd just like to talk to somebody about it, and I haven't had an opportunity to talk with anybody about it. And I have a vested interest out there, so does Peach State. I haven't had a chance to talk to him about it, but I think this could be addressed by putting a swale in on, just like it was originally shown, the original contours, and just putting a catch basin down here in the corner, and then tying it into that 6x7 junction box. That's how I would address it. But I guess really all I'm asking for is just a little more review or time, or can I talk to somebody about it? You know, I'm totally in favor of the project. I mean, be glad
yeah, you
to
can
have our
always-
neighbor there, you know?
Yeah, you
Instead of a
can
weed field.
Yeah, and you can always talk to the city staff about it too, and this also goes in front of the city council. I don't know when, a couple weeks probably, that, you know, they'll bring it up too, and you could do more research before then and also bring it up there. They're actually the governing body, so we're kind of the first line of defense for the city council, so that's something I would recommend also. You can talk to the city staff, do more research, and then go to the city council also. And we'll bring it up too. Now that you brought it to our attention, we're gonna discuss it tonight as well, so.
Mr. Chairman, it'll be
Thank you.
addressed by the
Okay, thank you.
engineer.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Regal.
Thank you.
All right. Now we start the formal commission action, the approval of the minutes from July 7th. We just need a motion on that.
I had a correction.
Yep.
It said it was going from R1 to R3, and it was, or RP3, and it was actually RR to RP3.
Yeah, that needs to be changed.
On the rezoning that we did on the last meeting,
I didn't see that either.
it said we rezoned it from R1 to RP3. It was
I was
actually
just looking-
RR,
R to R.
right, but on the other part, on the other,
Oh, here. Gotcha. So it's on the second page.
I can't bring it up.
Oh,
Yeah, having IT issues.
trying to find it. I see the RR here, maybe you can find it. Oh, okay. Dude, this looks right. Maybe it's in here. Oh,
It may have been on
maybe it's on this, the mayor.
it may have been on the sheet where they were talking about what was approved by the city council.
Yeah, that's right.
It says there, RR to RP3.
I just saw it one spot, so
Gotcha.
I don't see it on any of those sheets.
Okay. We can make a note of that to, I don't see it on this, but I don't have all the minutes either from the meeting. But anywhere there's a correction, can that be addressed to show that it's zoned from RR to RP3? And then we can make an emotion to approve it based on those corrections. Are there any other corrections? Go ahead.
I just saw it as I was reading through. I'm sorry, I don't have it. I can't. Okay, thank you. It was just in one location. I saw that it said R1, so.
I don't have the full minutes though in front of me. I just have the first page. The first and second page. I just printed off so I know keep track of what's.
Commissioners, just to note, there's a public hearing and rezoning application, item number 5, and it says RR to RP3.
Yep.
And I don't see another one.
I think we can still approve those minutes based on if we find any corrections, right, that need to be made for that.
We'll bring it back if we'll just approve them.
We can just approve as is unless, and if we see any corrections, then bring it back, right?
We will, yes.
Yeah.
That'll be fine.
Okay, so I think we just need a motion on that.
Move approval of the minutes
Second.
as presented.
Okay, we have a motion, it's been seconded to approve the minutes from July 7, 2022 as presented. Start the voting on the left.
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Aye.
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 Abstain.
Motion passes 6-0-2. Okay, the next item is a site plan application SP 42, 2022 Doggy Daycare. Mr. Burton, you have the floor.
Thank you and good evening. It's site plan for SH Victory LLC, 199th and Webster. Phelps is the engineer on it. It's approximately 1.7 acres. Under the site plan, you can see that parking is adequate, and they also have the landscape plan. A little bit of the background is this does fit into the C2 district. It's a doggy daycare where they will house animals. There's not any outside kennels per se. The area that's shown is an outside area that they'll run the dogs and stretch their legs and things like that. The site plan shows two entrances on it. And in this area, the engineering has approved both those due to that North Webster up here is not classified yet. It doesn't go all the way through, and the first intersection there, I thought it was a little tight, but it does make the setbacks in accordance to the intersection. All lot lines are identified, the parking surface is identified, and ADA is required. Utilities are available and identified. They did have to get a few additional easements for the sewer, and those have been taken care of. Exterior lighting, we'll review those at the building permit time. It's really not a big enough area to run a photometrics, but we'll take a look at it when they submit their building manufacturers and the fixtures and everything. The outside building, you've seen in the pictures there of what they had planned on doing with it. I don't know, can we take to it? If I can get it here. I'll find it, I promise you. Okay, so as you can see, the outside of the building, they've put, I'll kick this on. The outside of the building, you can see that there's, vertical siding, and then it's wainscot with some rock and stone. Good lighting all through the building as far as natural lighting on there. There's a drop-off area in the front right here that will be a drive-under area so that in climate weather or whatever the case may be. So
Pat, is there a rear elevation for the elevation facing 169?
let's see. No, we just have the, yes, that would be, well, this doesn't face 169.
Well, the one side of it will be.
To the west side.
It faces, well, it faces the,
Yeah, I mean, the
Oh,
front door faces the east, but it's going to have a back side too. That's going to be visible from 169. Will it not?
There's other.
No,
there's other
no, it's,
buildings on the
there's
other
other
side.
buildings there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the first entrance where the fireworks is at, and then this is on the next entrance.
Yeah.
So it will not literally be facing 169. So the three sides that you'll be able to visibly see from a street, they take and have the stone and rock on. You just about confused me there for just a second there. I've been known to be on the wrong place. Landscaping does meet all the requirements plus additional as well. And then sidewalks will be required along Webster Street. Screening around the dumpster is shown there. And we do not have I don't think I saw I hadn't a detail on the screen of the dumpster yet. Yeah, maybe that's, but, we'll make sure that that's it. I would like, the engineer to address the drainage though, so if that's okay now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Judd? Because that seemed to be the part of it that we want to make sure that is correct. Now, it has been gone, it did go through our engineering all right, and comments, and also we'll see what Judge has on this. Yeah, no, it shows, I just don't have the detail on that other. You can put it under there if you want.
Okay. My name's Judd Clausen. I'm with Phelps Engineering, 1270 North Winchester, Olathe, Kansas. I put the grading plan up here, and our neighbor to the north, I did visit with him for just a few minutes right before the case come up, after he had spoken, just to let him know that we're going to resolve his concerns on that. You can see my blue line notes here. Says fix there. We can basically pull those contours back to preserve that existing swale that's along that north property line, so that'll keep that drainage directed to the west and not draining onto his property. And then up there at the very northwest corner, you'll see the words catch basin. We'll just tie a little pipe out that ties into that catch basin right there. Collect that water coming off of right here. We'll pick up this water off of here. Of course, we're also, constructing storm sewer on the side as well and tying into that. So, drainage will be addressed, and that's be something I'd be happy to work with the city engineer and Pat on to make sure that's resolved. So, yeah, we definitely want to make sure that we're good neighbors on that. So, one thing, just to know on this property is we're, having to do a few off-site improvements too, because this lot never had sewers extended to it. There were sewers that our neighbor to the north had to extend a service line down along here to get his property to the sewer, because the sewer main was right here. And then this property drains this way, but somehow this one got left out of the mix. So we're doing a sewer main extension right through here. We'll tie in their service line in here and extend the main up to here. So it'd be like a more traditional subdivision then in that case. So we're kind of righting a wrong that was done, years ago with the project. But Jay Chaudhry and Courtney Ford are here in the audience. They're the owners. Courtney will be operating the business, and we ask for your approval tonight. We'll be here for questions if you've got any additional items to discuss.
Do you have any questions for Mr. Clausen?
Was a stormwater protection plan submitted for this? Is it required for the site plan?
Not at this stage, but we will be getting one from KDHE and then submitting that as part of our building permits.
Okay.
As the next stage.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Sure.
Okay. So page 5 looks different. It has an extra parking lot where you have the dog play area. Is that a plan for that?
So one of the items is, could we, what happens to this structure if, it becomes something other than a dog daycare in the future? Like, maybe it becomes small office building or something like that.
Okay.
So to meet the parking code requirements, we showed that you could add the parking both on the south side of the building. Let me. Oh, yeah, that's perfect. So what that exhibit shows is, hey, if this becomes something else and we need more parking in the future, how many spaces could we get? Could we meet code that way? And so this was just simply an exercise just to document that additional parking could be added on this northern side over here. Also, there is room to add more parking even on this side right here if we're ever be needed. So we have some flexibility, but hopefully that doesn't ever become the case.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Clausen?
Is there a guardrail located at the top of that retaining wall?
There'll be fall protection because it will be over 30 inches in height.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I don't have any additional questions. Any else? Thank you, Mr. Clausen.
Thank you.
I'll go through just a little bit, thank you. So, yes, and the retaining wall, of course, will be engineered due to the structure. I showed you earlier, well, first I'll talk about this just a little bit. These are exercises that we're trying to do for future use, possibly, due to, and nothing against fireworks stand and all, but we know there is not enough parking there. And so just little different exercises that we're doing to try and Phelps is doing, and luckily the owners were very willing to look at this and say, well, in the future, we don't want to be stuck with a building that won't meet parking regulations or any type of use regulations. So then to address the stormwater, of course, the stormwater, Mr. Clausen's talked about it and all, but the stormwater drainage plan, the calculations have been submitted to engineering. The actual plans for the drainage pipes and stormwater drainage itself are still in engineering because they really haven't been all completely designed. I would like to say that our engineering would have caught that. So those are a lot of things, just like a lot of these site plans, there's several adjustments made in the field and all, or in the drawing of the improvements. So other than that, if staff finds it's in compliance with everything and would recommend approval of it.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask you a question?
Sure.
Sure.
So the former gentleman mentioned, concerns about feces running off. What is the plan to control the feces?
Well, they'll clean it and,
Uh-huh.
they have to clean it
So
up.
there are regulations
And there would
for
be,
that?
no,
Okay,
we don't regulate that. Obviously, what our regulations say is if it becomes a problem, then yes, we can go and enforce them. In a business like this, I would hope that would just be their standard operating practice. Now, if there is a problem with it and all, then yes, code enforcement would step in and do that.
okay,
Yes.
thank you.
So yes, we do have our regulations, but there's nothing specific that we address on this site plan.
Thank you, Mr. Burton.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Burton?
No, motion to approve site plan application SP 42 2022 for SH Victory LLC as presented by staff.
Second.
Okay, we have motion's been seconded to approve the site plan application SP 42 2022 Doggy Daycare as presented by staff. Start the voting on the left.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0. All right, the next item is a public hearing, rezoning. Before we start that, I'll go ahead and go through if I have it here, the public hearing process. I'll open it to the public. I don't think anyone signed up for this one, but and then we describe what, if any, conflicts of interest we have or ex parte communications, the commission members, then staff presents a report and we ask questions. And then the applicant is welcome to also make a brief presentation or statement. And then the commissioners ask any further clarification of the agent or staff. And then public comments are solicited from the audience at that point, if there are any. Each member of the audience must state their name and address for a public hearing. And then after that, commission members ask for any further clarification from applicant or staff. Then I'll close the public hearing, close it to the public. And then if we have any further deliberation amongst ourselves, we'll do that. And then there's a 14-day protest period begins after the planning commission public hearing is closed. So I'm gonna go ahead and open it up to the public. That's the first thing. So I open it up to the public. And are there any ex parte communications or conflicts of interest from any of the commissioners? Looks like no. So now, Mr. Burton, you're willing to come up here and present whatever you have.
You gave him the option.
Just trying to be a little funny there.
Thank you. Your humor's getting as bad as mine. No, so what we have is a planned district, RP1. It's PZD 362022 is the case number. It's northwest corner of it's approximately the northwest corner of 115th and Columbia Road. Roush Coleman and Anderson Engineering. It's currently zoned RR. It was brought into the city from county at that zoning. It's 76.90 plus or minus acres. And on this proposed number of lots with the 303, that was just in conjunction with the preliminary plat that was maybe going to be heard tonight and no longer will be. Area location, you can see this is on the west side of 169. Sewers, this is in sewer district that there are sewers. Well, it depends on which direction we go with sewers. It could be 3,300 lineal foot, or it could be approximately 2,700 lineal foot. Get the sewers. We had the engineer and I, our city engineer, Dan Miller, and I just finished a meeting at 4 o'clock on it between the two of us, and they had talked about putting in another lift station and pumping it across 169. The whole time community development wanted to go to the south to an existing sewer that is down there, and so this sewer will be running to the south. Right across the street and over, where's my little pointer thing? Here we go. Maybe I can get this thing to work, I don't know. That won't work. Anyway, over here you see the side arrow, and then you see the red and the other two shades, single family and then a planned district over there. That's across 215th. There's already a platted subdivision there. It was platted, well, it'd almost be 20 years ago now. And sewer is almost up to the south end of that. By running down through there, and starting there and going down through there, we're able to obtain easements and all easily to get to the existing sewer at the south. Due to, it's a platted subdivision. The preliminary plat shows a 20-foot utility easement on the west side of that existing plat. So getting down there is a lot easier and less complicated in trying to get easements from all these different neighbors around there. And it's fair because when that plat was put in, the neighbors, it was understanding that, all the improvements would stay on that property. So it should be where, the neighborhood would not have to worry about us plowing down through their properties with a new sewer line. So.
Are you, let me make sure I'm clear on that.
Yeah, let me try.
About putting, basically on Columbia Road.
Do you have your pointer?
Connecting in on Columbia Road to go down to the lift station that's on, going down that road?
Okay, so you see this property right here?
Yep.
That's the platted property.
Yes.
This is the property in question. We would come over and straight down 333 feet or something. It was 3,300 foot of sewer line. Plus this gravities it all the way. Where there was one plan that came in and did something like this that followed a valley and down to it. Well, that too many, and it wasn't what we wanted. The other plan was to set a lift station somewhere in here and pump it across the highway. But this is very clean, very straight. Yeah, there's a ridge right in here, And some of that sewer will end up being about 23, 25 foot deep. We have 23 and 25 foot deep sewers everywhere. Prairie Ridge connections are that deep. And really trying to eliminate all these lift stations, as many as we can. And that sewer district isn't hardly being used. So,
But
it's
that
been,
sewer is all gonna be on, that all 3,300's all on that property.
on this property,
Yeah.
yes. There's just about, I'd say, maybe 150 foot that is not. But yes, all of it, the majority of it is on there.
Right, just getting through
You have to
over there.
cross the road.
Just,
No, well, yeah, you gotta cross the road from there to there.
Yeah.
But all the gravity flow will be on that plat.
Nothing south of that is getting, the sewer is not going south of that property.
No,
Okay.
no, that property, it goes clear down. No, I take it back. There's 150 foot off of that property to tie in. Easement's already there
On the
Okay.
south end?
on the south end.
on the
That's
south,
correct.
okay.
So when you go to the far south end of that property there, the platted piece, existing platted piece, there's approximately 150 foot to tie in. Or there is another
It goes
piece.
down that road? Or it's just on
No,
the
no, no,
property?
it's on property.
Okay.
It's on, and there is another, this comes up like this and then ties off like this. And there is another branch right there as well. That's what we'd like to tie into, that's all on that platted property. But obviously, we have to do the calculations.
Gotcha.
So, but yes, it will not be affecting like the other one going through all the neighborhoods and all and that. So, and that's where we were, well, one, we didn't want that. And then two, people were starting to say, wait, we hear that you're gonna run sewer through our yard. No, that's not correct. We're not gonna do that. So,
But that's gonna that utilizes the pump station that is on Columbia?
on, 223rd, yeah, down there.
Or
You're right.
220, Columbia turns into
Yes,
220?
that's correct.
Okay.
Yep. But it is gonna utilize that, which has very little utilization right now.
Okay.
And that was one of the goals that was set out by the governing body, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, to try and utilize that area of sewer more, because like I said, it's the private side of it, the people that bought into it they're done paying. So, long time, just sitting there.
Mr. Burton?
Yes.
I own one of those
In that
properties.
yellow area, are there current homes in that area? Or is that just, you said that was.
This area here,
It's just
no, there is not.
It was
It's
just at one
platted.
time plan?
like 20
It's
years ago.
platted, 20 years ago. There's a final plat on portion of it, and then there is a preliminary plat for the entire piece.
But it's never been built.
That's correct. Yeah. In talking to, a lot of the area there, is they had planned on it, and then that was the first downturn, and then the second downturn came, and, and they had a lot of benefit district taxes to pay, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year. So they chose to pay those, but yes, now we are having a lot of interest in that red right there, that is the commercial. We've had a lot of people that,
How large is that red area? How many acres is it?
I think it's 15.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, but no matter what, the people are, they're looking up and down the highway and on our zoning map and saying, well, why isn't this built, And in facilitating the sewer coming down through there, that would definitely facilitate maybe the commercial being started immediately.
So right now, that person, the developer, could just come in and start building on the yellow part? Or
It-
would that have to go back through?
Oh, no, it can build.
So
Yep.
there's potentially 50 homes there, or how many do you think?
400?
Okay.
On the yellow area?
You're talking about the initial plat from
The old
a
plat.
long time
I
ago.
think there was 400.
I just bring that up, again, my concern is, how fast the city is growing, and I know that there's supposed to be an RFP out there. When is it supposed to be returned?
Actually, we should have it all back before, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
It's really been my problem, but I'm really struggling with 3 jobs. And the new administrator comes on here shortly, so I won't have to
Yeah,
do that part.
When's he, August 15th?
15th or 16th, yes, that's correct.
Good.
Yeah, it is, so we
That's
can
why I was
actually get
wondering
back
if
to
you're willing to
planning.
come up.
So, yeah. So, well, we can have a discussion about that, a little bit later on the progress and maybe quote unquote, how fast the city's growing. You know, we could discuss that.
There could potentially be over 700 homes then in that area with that road, the infrastructure, the way it is. So I just wanted to make sure
Right.
that that was,
Right.
on record, or,
I will say that one good thing about this, and people may think this is crazy, but in reviewing the traffic study on this, that intersection is just right there at requiring to have signalization
As
Now-
of right now or after this?
after this rezoning.
You
Now-
talking about
215th and,
215th and 169.
oh, okay.
So as I've stated, and all of you know, the state will not even let you start planning for signalization until the traffic count warrants it. It seems like a crazy rule to me, but at least now, I can go to them and say, look, here it is. It's been sent to us and it was verified by our traffic engineer, I guess today, cause Dan just explained it to me so I'll be able to, and, because we know that all up and down there, every intersection, whether it's warranted or not, really needs signalization, or at least improvements to make them safe. And so with this, it does warrant it, and utilizing, these calculations also.
When was the last traffic study in that area done?
With that right there.
With how it is currently, right now? When was the last one that was?
15 years ago or so.
So they're basing that decision off 15 years ago?
That's how they base everything.
Okay.
I mean, real quick, proactively, we tried on 191st Street to go in there and do a signal design. And we could not do it until it warrants it. And we're almost there now with Wiswell's, well, it'll be a warranted also, so.
I just know
So we'll
how
have
it
a few
is
of them.
now, especially
Sure.
with everything else coming in and the truck traffic.
Yes,
I live at the corner of 207th and 169, and it's awful.
it is,
There's an accident almost every day, and
right.
they're not good.
No. So if anything good comes out of it, at least that does give us some ammunition for the signalization of that intersection.
so I know this is my first meeting.
No, it's
But,
fine.
and so again, my concerns are just that we don't have the infrastructure. We don't have the grocery stores to handle another 700 homes. We've already
That's-
approved another over 1,000 homes to be built recently.
More than that.
Yeah, and so there's just, I just wonder, where are the plans for those? Are the schools ready to
first-
handle this many?
First of all, we have the infrastructure and we do have a grocery store. That is a viable size to a community of 20,000. Then that's private sector in where they decide or not. School district, they receive every plat, and they're very well informed on everything. They've already have their plans out for 15 years. You know, they already have a site for another high school and they already have a site for another elementary. That site probably hasn't been purchased yet, but they are on a growth pattern, and prepared for it. As far as amenities for people, we really don't have much control on that except for going back in and making sure that on these intersections and all, that it is commercial and that we don't plow all of our intersections like they did in the old days of manufacturing or industrial. So in doing that, hopefully that will spur. Now, as far as infrastructure, sewer, water and all, as I was saying, those sewer lines have been in and non-utilized for 20 years, 25 years. There's plenty of water there. And so really the growth, it is. One of our biggest problems has been, obviously, is the state highway in making the numbers to be able to come up with the numbers for controlled intersections. I'm kind of off track here just a little bit. It is a good question to answer.
Yeah.
We are working on every intersection. We have a alignment that you'll see before too long, I believe October or September meeting, realign of Webster Street, redesign of 223rd, a redesign of 191st and 169. So all those plans are being worked on. It's just our hands are tied by a state highway.
Back to the sewer question, so you said
Yes.
that those lines have been there for 20 years.
Mhm.
Do we know that they are still in working condition, or are there any concerns that they may need to be replaced?
No, all of our staff, I mean, that's part of their yearly routine
Okay.
is to go through and the lift station's checked every day. Even though I think honestly, there's only like 3 houses, maybe 5 houses tied onto it. But it still has to be checked every day. So I think they tied on some down there. I don't
It's about
remember.
a half a mile down the road. From
Is
my
it?
house.
Okay, I thought they did because they had some failed septics or something. Something like that.
Most of the houses all on that road on 220 is on septic. There's a few houses that are actually tied into the sewer.
That's what I thought. So
And that whole road is maintained by the city just because of that pump.
oh,
station.
that's right. Yeah. So that's another freebie. But we're definitely gonna have to annex you guys.
Nope.
Yeah, no, and that's right. I do remember that now. So, no, great questions, and we do know that you'll have multiple questions throughout. Just you can either ask the chairman or just
Sure.
talk about it. So
Thank you, appreciate it.
you bet.
Now, are there any other questions?
You know, I'm a fan of the planned districts, so I think this is a great use for this area. Again, it gives us, this is a rezoning, so just, I have to remind myself of that before we get into too crazy of layouts and requesting sidewalks at this point. I'd like to do that.
Well, and
So I have to remind myself. it's
and
just
as
a
soon as
rezoning.
the rezoning's over, I'll do a little explanation on the preliminary plat
Right,
as
and
to why.
so I'm a fan of these planned districts. I think it gives us boards.
It's a lot more control.
Yeah.
Like what Josh is talking about is the R1 is kind of a residential, but RP1 is like the plan. They have to come in front of the planning commission with the site plan. That's after the preliminary plat and the final plat. So that way we have
So
more.
we'll try and do it all in conjunction so that
Yeah,
everyone has a
exactly.
good
One of that.
understanding. Yes.
But we have more control in knowing what's going in that area versus an R1. And so that's why the plan district's always better. Do you have anything further?
I don't.
I think that, go ahead, do you have
I
any?
did have, just back to kind of the signalization. So when it was the 400 some odd houses, it wasn't quite enough to warrant signalization.
That's correct.
I mean, I know that road, I go over that intersection every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, adding another 330 homes to that intersection, is it possible that we're gonna be able to say, hey, to the state of Kansas, that we need to put signalization before those 330 get in there, so we're not?
Oh, no, they won't. I mean, the reason that I was excited about it is now I can send it and put it on the radar. To give you an idea, I think it took us 18 months for a quick trip and still fought approval at the very end. So what we'll do is we will submit the data and all. then it'll go through their chain, it'll come back and say, okay. And while we're submitting the data, we'll go ahead and do a mock-up of what all improvements need to be there and all. So you're probably looking at, and this is why it upsets me that you can't start ahead of time, is you're probably looking at 2 years.
Yeah, it's just this property is really on a silo, right? I'm very familiar with children in the area because we can't let I can't let my children go into anywhere because they have to cross 169.
Yeah.
Right? And any children that lives in here, they ain't going anywhere either.
No, and
Right.
and it's just like, well, and I'll address some of that here in just a minute on why that's another part of the preliminary plat as to why
it's being,
yes. So, but I mean, you are correct, but really, if you look just about anywhere in this community, until we start getting busy on these sidewalks and walking trails and all, it's hard to get anywhere and not take a little bit of a risk. I mean, I realize 169 is a much greater risk. What was that game where you tried to run across and
Frogger.
there you go. So
I actually have that on my video arcade.
sorry about
Yeah,
that
that's
humor, but
Are there,
I
let's see,
understand it.
is there anything else you want to add?
no, sir. I'll answer any questions.
We're trying to take it all in here, but I think
Understood.
mainly it's the rezoning that we're focusing on here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure if the applicant wants to come up and speak. They're more than welcome to if they want to.
I'm gonna be in that position.
Oh, okay. Where are they at? Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I thought you were John, but he's coming up.
Good evening. Patrick Joyce with Anderson Engineering, 941 West 141st Terrace in KC-Mo. Also with me tonight, I brought our representative from Roush Coleman, John Stone. I think Mr. Burton did a great job of describing what the rezoning was all about. I don't know if you want to save the presentation for what's on the preliminary plat till later, or if right now would be a good time to talk about that, or?
We just want to concentrate.
Okay, well then we're just happy to stand for any questions that you guys have.
All right, thank you. Is there any questions directly? Keep in mind, this is just for the rezoning at this point. And if that RP1 is appropriate in that area, that's what we want to focus on here. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Joint?
Nope.
All right, I guess not. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Now, the next, go ahead, did you have something to say? I think now we open it up for public comments, if anyone in the audience wants to come up.
Good evening. My name is Mark McKenzie. My address is 12248 West 128th Street, Overland Park. I guess we should get to know one another. We're going to be partners as we go forward, it looks like. Our family owns the property that lies just west of this proposed site. We have the 300 acres that lay along 215th Street going to the west. So we're very interested in what happens here. It obviously affects us a great deal. It sets a lot of precedents, I think, for that area. And I think that's what we're most concerned with, is what kind of precedent are we setting there? What are you gonna be expecting from us down the road? Do you want more projects like this? Do you want something nicer? What is it that you really want? I know we're not really in the city limits right now. The city limit stops right there, but obviously we're gonna be there someday, so we may as well get this out on the table. And if I understand it right now we're just talking about the rezoning. So I've got a lot of comments about the proposed plat, and I'll try to keep those to a minimum right now and just talk about the rezoning. I guess our preference, we don't really have a problem with this being residential. We would certainly prefer R1 as opposed to an RP1. And the main reason I suggest that is, it looks to me like with the RP1, that allows that allows the owner to use much smaller lots. I looked at that plat. I saw a lot of lots, 6,000 square feet. I don't know how you do that. I mean, you're out in the middle of the country and all of a sudden you're gonna squeeze 300 of these lots into this thing. And, I mean, that just makes no sense to me, and I think it sets a terrible precedence going forward. I understand the deal about wanting to get 169 improved and get stoplights and all that. Believe me, I've been feeding cattle out there for 20 years. I understand the traffic. I understand how that works. I sympathize. I share that same reaction with you. But if the RP1 allows them to do the 6,000 square foot lots, that's a real problem for us because that's not what we envision. We're developing land in Olathe right now. We're not ready to do anything down here, but at some point we will. We'll be back to you. We'd like to come in with a nice quality project. And having something like this sitting next to us, I think is gonna be a real concern for us and a real problem. Let's see if there's anything else that really addresses this. One other thing that I noticed, I called and talked to Amy earlier today, and I asked her, I said, do you guys have any projects like this anywhere in the city of Spring Hill? And she mentioned 199th and Woodland. So I drove by there on the way down today. And I went over and looked at that. It looks like it's a much smaller project. I don't know if the lot sizes are the same. I can't really tell. One thing that concerned me is I did not see a for sale sign anywhere. I saw a for rent sign. And if these projects are meant to be kind of a subterfuge to apartments, I'm even more concerned than I was when I started. So I don't know if that's the case. That's what I saw. And maybe they are for sale, I don't know. But for those reasons, we just have a lot of concern with that and would like to work with the city however we can, but that's an issue for us.
Yeah, we appreciate your coming up and commenting. And keep in mind, the RP1 is single-family homes that are planned, and so they do have to come with the site plan, which gives us a lot more control.
Okay.
Versus the R1, which you don't have to see any site plan. And I think to Pat's point, you could put a modular home on an R1 legally, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with the RP1, we would never allow that to happen, and we get to see everything, landscaping, all sorts of things. And so, and also, the corner where I live, 199th and Ridgeview, that was just zoned RP3. It's the same size, about 76 acres. I think that's about.
Is that what it is? Okay.
And that gives them more flexibility to build. You know, there's some multifamily there, but they're going to put, you know, nice homes there as well. So we just have to see what the homes, you know, look like on the site plan at that point. But I really recommend that you stay involved and come to the meetings and see the site plan.
We didn't know this was coming. Nobody contacted us. Nobody called us. We got the notice and we called Amy and got access to the documents this week, and I just had a chance to look at them, so.
You're okay. It's in the start, so this is the starting phase. So, I mean, then it goes to the city council, and you can even show up at the city council, the governing body, and make.
Certainly, we're always available for contact or input or whatever,
Yeah.
so, and we're local, so we have
That's
to
good.
be
It's
involved.
good that you're involved.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask what
Yeah,
your
go ahead.
intentions would be with your property on that? Or have you thought about that?
Go ahead. She had a question for you.
I'm sorry, no, I didn't get you before you left. Can I ask what your intentions with your property in the future would be? Would it be commercial or housing or farming?
You know, it would be,
You know, with your, you know, what you got going.
to be honest with you, we really never even got serious about what we would do with that.
Okay.
I just kind of assumed it was gonna be residential. If there's a higher and better use, I'm all for it, but I don't know that there is out there. I don't know what that would look like at this point.
Okay.
Were you considering more of like acreages, or, I mean, are you also maybe considering more compact residential?
I think we would be thinking about more traditional residential. A nicer, because it's a nice piece of property. It's got a nice, the way it lays out there, back to that creek, it really lays out nice. Upper level homes would be something I'd be thinking about back there.
So similar, just larger lot sizes.
Yeah, much larger than these, yeah.
Yeah, well, and keep in mind, the RP1, you can build larger single-family homes on that. It's just that there's a minimum size, right, which is smaller. I think it's 5,000 square feet, right? Isn't that right, for the RP1?
Well, it can't be 5,000 if it's a 6,000.
Or 5,500?
Yeah, it can't be a 6,000 square foot lot. In a
It's minimum size. So you can build it bigger.
Ah,
The lots can be bigger, but it just gives more control to versus the R1. Then that's why we like it better.
okay.
Just keep that in mind.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Is there any other public comment? If not, I'll close it to the public. And then if we have any discussion amongst ourselves or not, or any more questions for Mr. Burton, is fine too, or the applicant. Go ahead.
Okay, so where does this lie within the comprehensive plan? Is this already in there or future land use?
No,
So
it's just, this is just a rezoning, right? So it's kind of part of the rural residential is part of the comprehensive plan too, right? So residential, especially RP1 would be allowed in that. But you can address that.
Yeah, and it is residential use is what it's classified as. What we're trying to get away from always is some of the stuff that we've had up north and all, where whole areas are industrial right against the highway, you know. And it's a residential use that is, that's what the comp plan calls for in this area. And I'll go through quite a bit more on explanation of the preliminary plat in just a little bit.
I mean, technically, does our comp plan, we didn't have any coloration in this area on the comp plan.
Right, future land use plan
We don't have any there either.
and right, but on what they're showing is just the overall, I don't know, what rural area is what they showed. So under that, we would classify as a residential until we figure it out.
But it's consistent with what's across catty corner to it.
Well, next door and everything.
Yeah.
The one up on that other one is RP1, the catty corner. Those are RP1s.
Yes. Yeah, I can show you on the.
My concern again is just that it feels like we're just selling off little bits of the town without having an overall plan or vision for what we really want the city to look like. I know that Lenexa has like a 30-year plan where they, have things chopped up every 10 years of what the goal is and not just everything to start today. And it just feels like we keep approving and approving and approving for all of these developments. And I really don't see where, this town is set up to handle that, or if that really is the goal and the desire of the current residents. Do we want this to turn into Olathe? Or do we want and desire it to remain Spring Hill, which is small town and friendly? So those are my concerns when we keep approving all these things without having a vision.
Well, and
There is a plan.
well, there is a plan.
There is a plan that was developed in 2006.
Yeah, correct.
And they're
Which is supposed to be
actually,
reviewed yearly.
and Debbie, they
We're all
are,
aware of that.
they are working on the
It's less than the
updating.
30-year
Yes.
plan that
Yes.
Go ahead,
Overland Park has.
go ahead.
It hasn't reached 30 years, the way the plan you mentioned in Overland
Yeah,
Park or
it's,
whatever.
in other words, Overland Park is 30 years old.
Uh-huh.
We're actually trying to update ours from 2006.
Gotcha.
Actually, next year is gonna be probably,
Yeah, this board's been very hard on pushing on that comprehensive.
Yeah, and you
plan.
haven't-
We have the same feelings, we want a vision, we
And
think
it's
it's outdated, and we've been pushing for it. But
Yeah.
until then, that is what we.
And
are stewards of
it
our
is
life.
funded.
Yes, which is a guide. I did read through it and it's not a Bible, it's a guide.
it is.
Yeah, so,
All plans are a guide.
what's that?
All plans are a guide. They're not a forever.
Right,
Right.
set in stone. They're guidelines for this.
That's why you review them periodically.
Yes, yeah.
No, but I just wanted to let you know, we are working on that, and that's part of the, Pat, when is the comprehensive plan? That's,
Well, we will start on it in October with a consulting firm. And what firm that is yet, we don't know. But we will start in October with a consulting firm and we will get through it. I think everyone has a pretty good idea of what we want, what we envision. And luckily, we've already been talking about it because it really has made a difference on the alignment of Webster and how I've been guiding that. Because it was different.
Right.
And so, and you'll see those three before too long, but yes.
But yeah, we'll take every step of the way when we do that comprehensive plan update. And also the public's always welcome to, join in that too.
To every meeting.
To every meeting.
And so,
Okay, go ahead. Wait, did you have?
Yeah, I'm actually feeling really opposed to continuing to shove 10 pounds in a 5-pound box. And that's what I feel like we just continue to do. This property with knowing, right? We all know what's going in here. We all know how many houses they're going to try to shove in this 77 acres. This property is on an island by itself, disconnected from the city. And we're going to throw 303 houses over here all by themselves. And there's nothing that helps connect them to the city. There's nothing that helps get anybody to the city safely. But we want to put 303 houses right here and rezone this, right?
yes.
The other thing that we always continue to talk about is how awesome RP1 is. And yes, I 100% agree with the argument that we get all the plans and we can see where they're going to put a tree and we can see how high their grass has to be cut and we can see all that, right? It's totally okay. But we continue to push RP1 in the matter of shoving, again, 10 pounds in a 5-pound box and allowing these lot lines that are smaller than my house. Right? And I don't think this makes sense to put this island of small houses out here that has no connection to the city. Right? All the other ones we've done that are on the other side have connections. They have connections to the schools. They have kids can ride their bikes and they can get around in the city if they needed to. Nobody over here is gonna be able to do that unless they drive. They can't ride their bicycle across the road. So this is where they will live. This is where they're gonna play. This is where they're gonna do it unless their parents, the parents or the parents' friends' parents come get them to come do something. So
What's the difference between that and Dayton Creek?
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't Dayton Creek our fastest
And where do
growing
you start?
development?
It's the
Dayton
fastest
Creek on the
growing
other side
development
with
in
the
Johnson
school.
County.
right, but that's
It's on the same side as the
Well, but
highway as this is.
And it also has pretty small lots as well. I'm afraid it's just kind of similar.
Kinda like
Right.
where Wolf
So,
Creek started.
I was here when we did Dayton Creek, or at least part of Dayton Creek, right? And I think as you sit on this board, the longer you sit on the board, the longer you start to see different things. You're just like, why do we continue doing this, right? I was super new when we did Dayton Creek. When we did the elementary school, I think that was my first year here, right? So there was a lot of things I observed a lot. And I feel like as I've got on here, I've gotten more vocal. I do feel like this is an island that we're not ready for it yet. And I don't feel like I don't feel like this has the right connection. So, I mean, that's my opinion on it.
So I understand what you're saying, but so what do you think should be there then?
Yeah, I think,
I mean, if you have a different vision for what this is, so what are you saying you should be, if you say this isn't right, then what is right? Because it's single family residential, which seems to be what everybody is upset that we zone stuff for not RP1 or R1. So what do you feel like it should be then?
What I'm saying is I don't think we should be putting 330 homes on this piece of land.
Okay.
Yeah, we can put some residential there.
Well, that's
Well, it's
not
all-
up to question yet, the amount of
yeah.
houses.
For a moment,
He's gonna
Oh.
say,
I'm gonna have to intervene for just a minute.
Hold on, no, I'm gonna stop you because this is our discussion. And this is my opinion, right, on the board, right? This is my opinion, correct? There's no legal stance here I'm giving my opinion on my board, right?
But you're giving an opinion that is not about zoning, it's about
No, I
other
think-
matters. And right now, we need to limit it to the zoning. The plat is
Okay,
not in front of you, and you
understand.
could zone one thing and turn down plat. You could say, hey, we're gonna zone it RP1, and then when the plat comes before you and there's 330 houses, say, we want 220. I have to be very clear on that, and that is my obligation to you. You guys can talk about that all you want. You can say, you want art, but I have to mention from a legal perspective, we are bound to consider the golden factors. And to be clear, we, the city, are not putting anything there. Private landowners are choosing and requesting, applying for zoning, and in this case, they're applying for RP1, and so it's the zoning issue, not the,
Okay, so
that's all I'm trying to make clear.
I am talking about the zoning. The RP1 zoning allows them to what, 5,500?
I think it's 5,500 square foot. I think
5,500 square foot.
R1
So I am addressing the lot size because there's a good understanding that if I say yes to RP1, that they could put 300 plus houses on this property. So I am addressing the zoning.
When we talk about the number of houses as relates to a plat.
Okay, I'll sit
Got-
now and I'll
got
say
it.
300 plus based on the zoning is possible. Does that make it feel more legal?
But, okay, but I think it's back to Troy's comment though too, Rogers, that if it's not RP1 and the landowner wants to rezone it from RR to RP1, I mean, are you saying that we just shouldn't rezone it because it might be too crowded? Or should, we think of other factors? I mean, it is a landowner request, I think.
My question was, if
What
it's
should
not
it
gonna be RP1, then what do
Well,
you feel,
well-
cause what he's saying is,
Well-
he doesn't feel like it should be single-family residential,
Well,
or not that
that's-
dense,
Right.
single-family
Well, but keep in mind too, it's the landowners. the
No,
one-
I'm talking
I
about
totally
the-
get that,
I'm
I'm
talking
trying
about
to
the
understand what
density.
he's,
Yeah.
okay.
And I think
The
we
density, right?
Okay.
Yes.
I think we agree with that.
I've agreed that RP1 and the stipulations that we can put around RP1, I agree with.
Okay.
Right? I totally agree with that. However, we continue to shove all of these houses in these small areas and put them side by side over and over again. And at some point, we have to think about, when do we stop trying to shove 10 pounds in the cloud?
Okay, so what I hear you saying is, you're okay with it being single-family residential, you
Yes.
just don't like the density that they're bringing.
Correct.
Okay, where we have to take that discussion to is when the plat comes to us. And to turn down if you don't like it, then you turn down the plat. But you're okay with what the zoning is as far as being single-family residential.
I mean,
I just wanna make sure that I understand what you're saying.
well, the only other thing bigger is R1, which we have no
Yeah, no, I think more of it is, I like RP1, I hate the fact that it allows the density that it does,
Okay.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I think for me too, I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm so loud now. But we're not supposed to consider that, but yet it's on the table. I mean, we're given that, okay, they wanna turn it to RP1 because they wanna put 300 homes there, but then we're supposed to ignore that to make a decision.
Well,
No, we're not,
well,
we're not ignoring
we're
that.
not ignoring it.
We're putting, if we zone it to RP1, we're putting single-family residential there.
Do you
It's
think
not
it's
gonna
fair?
be multifamily residential, it's
Right.
not gonna be duplexes, it's not gonna be quadplexes, it's not gonna be apartments, it's
Single
gonna be
family.
single-family
It's
residence.
single-family homes that we
Right.
have control over, and
So
the
let me,
site plan.
let me ask this question. Can I go back when we go preliminary? If everybody else on the board agrees with me, you guys brought me a preliminary, or brought us a preliminary, and I said, nope.
Yes.
We all said, nope, you can't do 300 homes here, we only want 150.
Yes.
We can say no, and they'd have to go back and only put 150.
Yeah, I mean, you would have to have a good reason to reduce it that much. Where,
I'm just saying numbers.
okay, but let's say that you do come back and you say, hey, we would like to see larger lots,
Well,
70
and
by
we've done that
115.
before, right? We've
Right,
changed
that
the
is
lot
correct.
size on one of those.
Several of them we've changed the lot size on. But, you can come back and say, we wanna see 70-foot wide lots. I would say that a lot more of this, when I explain why we were gonna look at the preliminary plat, will come to life, and you'll understand our reasoning on it and why we won't let this. I know you've already seen it and all, but that won't fly.
It's gonna change.
Yes.
Okay.
But yes, you are correct. You can.
And is the,
And the other thing is,
You're bringing up a good point,
you know, we're
Roger.
talking about the gentleman next to it and all, with the quality of homes and all, and I do hope that he does come back for the next meeting and all as well, because, you know, you can require additional stone and stuff like that, so, anyway.
all right, my last
you
question
know.
off my soapbox.
Yeah.
How do we change the RP1 requirements for lot size?
So what we would probably, and I was thinking about this.
And I
as we
think
were talking
another
about that,
question
we
along
could
that
do that.
same lines is how does that ours compare to other cities around? Is it similar, larger,
Oh,
smaller?
Ours are
RP1,
actually
like
larger.
ours
There's
larger.
all kinds of communities that are going 40-foot lots now, 45s.
Okay.
But to give you an answer on that, I was thinking about that, and that's something we really probably ought to address in this comp plan,
Okay.
in, you know, what you envision. I've said this before, and a lot of people have laughed at me, but I can prove it over and over and over and over, is people don't want large lots. I know you and I both live on large lots, farms, everything else,
Yeah.
but we're not normal anymore, man.
I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, again, I'd want
Oh, really?
something, in research, something written down, some sort of,
And
and
I
not
can
just a
prove
random
it.
comment that people don't
There's
want
not.
large land.
Mark has a study out on it, Mid-America Regional Council.
Okay.
As well as, do you know Olathe and Overland Park, there is not a lot hardly in there being platted anymore that's 70-foot wide. And there are a few, that's correct. The majority of them are under 70 foot. I just got the study from Mark, Mid-America Regional Council. The majority of all lots. And then you couple into there connected living. Now, I'm not saying it's right, wrong, or indifferent, because you know where I live. And I don't, you know, I don't want to live in a smaller lot area. But I think that would be a good thing to really look at this and research, because it always seems to come down to this, you know, size of lots. And I think it'd be good to research that, and have that a part of our comp plan discussion and agreement on, you know, what size do we really think fits this community?
I'll say my day-to-day life of what I do, I'll say
Sure.
mixed-use development's going up significantly, not going down. Density's increasing.
Mm-hmm.
The millennials coming in, they're more about the Instagram moment. They don't want to take care of their lot. They want maintenance provided. They want to use their monies to travel more. I mean, it's common. I mean,
And I've taken a lot of heat, just like I took a comment just a second ago. I'm telling you, and I have all these millennial kids. I have 4 kids, and it's the truth. Now, I think we do need to balance. I agree. We need to balance. Not everything small lots and all that. So I think it'd be a really good discussion for comp.
yeah. And I think, you know, bridging off what Roger was saying, you know, we're talking about, maybe it's not the RP1, is there an additional, like RP, you know, that is just larger lots,
Additional,
you know?
right. And I will tell you also, we're working on some different street standards also that Overland Park and Olathe and all have started utilizing because a lot of times what we get, you guys, is, well, your street right of way is so big and so we have to cram more houses in. Well, they've reduced the street right of way a little bit and able to pick up a few extra lots through the process and all. So, yeah, I think that, I do. I think it's a really good discussion to have and a decision to be made.
There was also one question in there, and Commissioner Welsh, in your question, how do we change that? And the answer is, portions of the zoning,
He knows it, Chuck. What he's
Okay.
trying to say is, how do we get to the point of where we all agree on changing that zoning regulations?
well then, okay, I'm just saying.
Right.
We can
Yeah.
do that and walk through it
And
and
I
have public
think it
hearing, just
probably-
like this one.
Yeah, and I think it'd probably be best to address it though at the comp plan. and come up with
RP1 plus, right?
a design in our head what you guys envision and.
So just curious too, are people requesting less parks? I mean, I just, when
it's
I'm looking
more.
at this plot, it's
It's
like
just
house after house after house and there's no green space.
I just explained that the plat, don't look at it. I will talk about the plat after this rezoning and why we cannot hear it tonight, and you'll
Okay.
understand. Thank you.
All right, this is our,
Need this.
okay, this is good discussion. Any other questions or comments? And
Can I
think
say something else? I'm so
Yeah, yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
but I just think it's really unfair, if we approve something like this, knowing that they want something to look a certain way, and we say, no, it's gonna be RP1, and like Roger brought up before, and then we come back and say, no, we said RP1, but you can only put 200 homes here. I just think it's really unfair to the developer.
Well, as long as it's in the city code and it meets the RP1 standards, we could put some restrictions on it, right? But not, it's still, if it's in that code, they have every right to put that in that area.
Well, they.
So we don't have any
We can
ability
change
to,
some,
right,
yeah.
so that's really the issue.
That's why we're talking about RP1 plus,
Right,
to be
and,
honest.
and they understand that taking a chance on the RP1 zoning, you know, so they understand the risk factor.
And I mean, I understand why they ask for it, right? They're trying to get as much as they possibly can to squeeze out of that piece of property.
Yep.
You know, I mean.
Well, they have
totally-
to.
It totally makes sense business.
It could be
They
RP3,
have
like
to.
next to my house.
Yeah, it could
80
be.
acres.
That's right.
Everybody approved that.
I mean, it
Or it could be just
it
like
could
next
be
to your house.
industrial. Yeah, it could be industrial.
I'll just make that comment and stuff.
Yes. Thank you. I'm glad you
So,
got that.
any other comments? If not, I think, we already closed it to the public, so it's,
Did you close it?
yeah,
You did.
I did. I'll just make sure though. Yeah, I think I did a while back.
You did.
I don't have any other questions or comments. Does anybody else? If not, we're just looking for a motion.
I recommend approval of PCD 36-2022.
Second.
Okay, the motion's been seconded to approve the rezoning, Z 36-2022 as presented by staff. Start the vote on the left.
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Nay.
Motion passes 6-2. The next item.
Thank you.
Off, so now I think we're off of we're just down to discussion now,
Right.
right?
So I'll go ahead, if that's okay, and discuss a little bit about you'll have to turn me back on here, thank you, on the preliminary plat. So in June 13th, there was a response sent out to the developer on several items. Can you turn my thing on here and I'll show it then? So what I was talking about is you can see this area right here. And what that is indicating, you see how we kind of drew a radius in there because, you know, the way they used to do these comp plans and everything just seems to be square off. But that is a future parkway. And in conjunction with that parkway there, that obviously if you look at the plat that was supplied to you, that is shown as a dead-end cul-de-sac. And the applicant was notified of this June 13th. Then under that as well, as you can see this area here, this is a bike path trail system next to the future parkway. Now, we're not saying that parkway has to be, 6 lanes wide. And matter of fact, in that area, it makes sense to only make it a 2-lane parkway. Maybe coming off of there, maybe with a little division, but enough to have the bike path and trailway system to do connections. So as you see why I'm saying it's a connector into all the future trail system as well as the park system. So that was not designed on there. And so that's why when we received the revised that is in your packet, and there's just no way that we could present that because it doesn't meet any of the criteria that was asked for in the, and this is straight out of the comp plan. This one is the major trails plan, and the other one is the thoroughfare plan.
So Pat, according to that last exhibit you had up there, the preliminary plat should essentially illustrate some sort of main trail system along that eastern property line.
That is correct.
And that wasn't shown tonight, and that's the reason it was not.
That's why,
presented.
right, and because, like I said, and they were notified of it, the engineering was notified of it, on a June 13th, letter, and then we received, the revised, and by the time we got it out to everybody again and all, you know, it was recognized that it still was not corrected as in accordance to that. So we will go back to the applicant, the engineering of it, and, you know, explain to them that, you know, we put that stuff in writing because it's in our plan and we expect to present to the planning commission. So now you know why I was saying, hey, I can address some of the park stuff and the trail systems and things like that, in this discussion here. I'd be willing to take any questions.
No, thanks for clarifying that. That's helpful.
It is.
That dotted line.
Yeah, the dotted line. And that happens to be on their east property line. What is funny is the park trail shows a curve in it, but the actual street was just straight. We drew that curve in it, but it was just a right angle. So, but, you know, it's, and in utilizing this, along with that, down in that corner, that's probably gonna be where the detention goes and, a little bit of their own park system as well there. And that is to connect in, you can see it connects into the golf course and up around and eventually gets us to Veterans Park. So, that's why I was gonna address, Roger, I didn't want to, you know, but this would connect to Veterans Park. Because as you know, there is under the road through the golf course, and we will be utilizing that to get over to Veterans Park. So I agree, you know, it doesn't connect exactly to the city, but, you know, we built a park out there that doesn't connect to the city. You know, we've spent millions, and I'm not exaggerating, millions of dollars on Veterans Park that you wouldn't let your kid ride over there to.
Never, nobody's ever there, unfortunately.
Oh, there's people there. I'm just saying you wouldn't let your child ride a bicycle. Ride your
No.
bicycle, so.
There's a sidewalk
you
there.
know,
Can you tell me,
There's not a sidewalk to Veterans Park from this side of the town.
yeah, but I mean, there's a sidewalk,
Yeah, so you can drop them off on 199th and hopefully make it down there, but yeah. But no, my point is when we were, honestly, the truth of the matter is, our point is when we were designing Veterans Park, you know, we multiple times said, how does this community get there? And so at least we do have a plan in connecting this to our park system.
What's that timeline look like, right? It's this property goes in. How soon does that dotted line go to Veterans Park?
So I did meet with the golf course people and all, and really a lot of it's already in. It's just in a combination utilization with the golf course. Sure, we'll have to do a little bit of widening and things like that. But it all comes down to the CIP. And the truth of the matter all, it comes down to our very tight budget. But so under CIP, you know, hopefully I'd like to see it, because we're getting ready to do the second phase of Veterans Park. I'd like to see something started on it, you know, a good start towards that direction.
Yeah, I'd almost think we need to get connections to it before we spend any more money on it.
What you think?
Just saying.
I know. Yep. So that, I hope, and if there are any other questions, I'd be more than happy to take them. I hope that kind of clears up though what our thought pattern was on this and how we hope to, or how we will connect to our, really the biggest park we have right now at this stage.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Okay. Other than that, did I have any other announcements?
Pat, you said we'll see some in October regarding the comprehensive plan or RFPs or.
No, what we will actually see, we'll see the RFPs before that. We will have a consultant on board in October. Then we will see the things that we had presented before. And it's been a while, so I'm kind of fuzzy on that part, but anything the staff had presented before, I'll have some updated stuff on that. I don't remember what it was, to be honest with you, that we were gonna try and do in-house. The other thing that'll be on my list now is, I will go ahead and get all the information on this smaller lot stuff and the information on what all the other communities are doing,
Thank
in
you.
the area.
I appreciate that.
Unfortunately,
I know we
Could be
mentioned
surprised.
the CIP last time
Yes.
that we were here, and that we
Yeah.
haven't been seeing it over the last few years.
right.
Or were you able to put any pressure on that getting in front of us again?
Yeah, I put a lot of pressure on myself this year, because I'm in charge of it, but, well,
That's why I asked me if he's.
I will just, I'm gonna tell you guys right now, we do not have a CIP right now. We had to really focus on the budget. It was tough to make the budget. And with and although albeit just a few subdivisions that were turned down, it's already taken about 200 and, what'd I say, 50 grand out of our pocket. That's a lot of money to this community. And I mean, that's just fees, that's not excise tax, that's not permit fees, impact fees, anything. That's just plating type fees. So what is being worked on right now is everyone is turning in a CIP. You know, instead of a wish list, we really asked for a true CIP this time. So we will have that. Obviously, we have to have it before budget, and you will see that.
Okay, and just for the record, that wasn't pointed towards you. I know there's a
No,
lot of
I
other
know you-
people. There's
no,
a lot
I-
of people that are involved in
No,
putting
no,
that
no,
together.
no.
So
Believe me, I don't take any more. I get such thick skin anymore. It's unbelievable. No, always have had, but no, and I know, you know, it's been. And one thing I've asked Public Works is let's address these sidewalks. Let's address also some of these park areas. You know, the old Wiswell property, we're going to gain about 44 acres of park ground through there. And under the programs that we're working with for that project, a good portion of money is gonna be spent on that park project. And hopefully, hopefully to it, some trails will be leading to there as well. So. And I hope that, and I believe the new city administrator, he will have the same type of outlook. And, you know, it's kind of hard when you're dealing with people that just aren't used to getting things accomplished. And, I mean, you know, it's pretty obvious, and I'm pretty vocal on it, you know that, and pretty straight, clear, and forward on it is, you know, hadn't accomplished anything for years, so. But yes, you
and the
will
boards that you
see it
stand in
all.
front of aren't usually quiet either. So
No, that's fine. Hey, that's why we're here. You know, if everything was just rubber stamped, you'd just get, what I call it, you get a trailer park mentality of just seeing the same type of thing. Nothing against trailer parks. You would see the same thing over and over and over. So, no, you have to have discussion. Other than that, I don't even really remember what went through, all the rezonings passed, and,
Yep.
I don't know, Mr. Sly, I think you know that, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think I know that pretty well.
But, the new city administrator starts 15th or 16th. So Lane.
Now, are you still gonna,
Lane Massey.
you still gonna come here, or is the city
Yeah.
administrator? Okay,
No, the city administrator won't be able to.
Okay. okay.
I have proof of that. But Lane Massey, he is from Emporia, Kansas. So, you know, much larger city, some diversification there. So we, you know, we think he'll do really well and, you know, go, hopefully will help the city in all the ways that we need to be helped. And he'll be one that, I don't know, for you that don't know me, I'm not much on going out and talking to the public. I like to just talk to developers and work. He's more outgoing. He'll be at the chamber meetings and things like that. So those of you that go there will be fortunate enough to drink coffee with him or whatever you do at a chamber meeting. Sharon will kill me, won't she? No, she knows I'm quite the jokester, but anyway, that's all I really have.
All right, Pat, thank you.
You bet.
Are there any announcements from any planning commissioners or staff? I guess we heard from Pat. Nothing? Okay, if not, we just need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn, it's been seconded, start the vote in the left.
Aye.
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 Motion passes 8-0.
You're gonna block out our.
I was going up.
I want you guys.